Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Monday, January 13th. It has been all coaching search all the time for the past week, basically, right? When you're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars and all these other teams in the NFL that are seeking a new head coach. And you've got some teams that were just eliminated from the playoffs this week. One more team will be eliminated this evening when the Rams and the Vikings play, but it's Monday. It's the offseason. That means it's time for Mock Draft Monday for your Jacksonville Jaguars. And in this version of the exercise, we're going in the all grit, true grit offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars, bringing in Ben Johnson as the head coach. And I know that coaches get put in these buckets, in these categories, and it's like, well, that's the leader of men. That's the offensive coach. Is it not possible that Ben Johnson could be both? That he could be a very good leader for your football team and a very good offensive coach? I think it is, right? So I hate how we just like put guys in buckets and that's what they are and they're not anything else. That kind of annoys me about the whole coaching process, the coaching search process, right? But, and this is just an example. I'm not saying Ben Johnson's going to be the Jaguars head coach. I'm not saying he isn't either. We don't know at this point. My best prediction has been Liam Cohen, but because we're in a long offseason period here now, we don't have a head coach in Jacksonville. We're going to run through different examples of how things could look, right? So this is the Ben Johnson true grit, bringing Detroit down to Duval version of the Jacksonville Jaguars offseason. We've got 3 big free agent signings, 1 big cap cut, and then the draft here that we're going to do on this Mock Draft Monday. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about everything I'm talking about here in the comment section below. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear, like the hat I am wearing right now. You can become a channel member here on YouTube. So getting things kicked off. You're cutting Christian Kirk. You're getting over $45 million in cap space, about $46 million in cap space. I have no problem if the Jaguars want to keep Christian Kirk, but like predictively, I just really have a hard time seeing a team that was probably trying to get rid of him at the trade deadline, but the injury happened. He has had 2 season-ending injuries the last couple of years. He's expensive. The Jaguars can save $10 million by cutting him pre-June 1, $10 million in cap space. So I just kind of look at it in the emergence of Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr., Evan Ingram still on the roster in this scenario. And obviously Gabe Davis likely still on the roster. So I kind of look at all those factors, and I do think that they probably will do that. Get to over, about $46 million in cap space. I think signing Trey Smith makes perfect sense for a Ben Johnson offense, getting those offensive linemen, getting push at the point of attack, out on the move, mauling guys in space again and at the point of attack. So Trey Smith, probably going to be the highest paid guard, almost certainly going to be the highest paid guard this free agency cycle, and maybe the highest paid guard in football. I've got in this scenario Trey Smith, 4 years, $22 million per year, $9 million year 1 cap hit. When you look at the Jaguars cap hits when they sign free agents, generally speaking, going to be close to that 40% of the average annual value will be the year 1 cap hit. There will be an out after year 3, which would be 2025, 26, 27. After 2027, and the Jaguars still have $37 million in cap space after that move. Signing safety Justin Reed, another physical football player. And the reason I have him coming available here is because I do think that the Chiefs drafted his replacement in Jaden Hicks. 3 years, $15 million. Justin Reed, he is a reliable safety. He is a big hitting safety. He's got athleticism still. He's still in the prime of his career. So 3 years, $15 million per year, $6 million year 1 cap hit. That's $31 million in cap space. And then signing cornerback Charvarius Ward, who might be cheaper than I'm expecting here because he had a horrible off the field situation. I just feel so bad for him with his family, his daughter passing. And he's talked about, maybe needing to move away from California just because so much scar tissue and maybe needing like a fresh start type of deal, right? So maybe you go get Charvarius Ward, who is a big physical press man corner. Pairing him up with Tyson Campbell and Jarian Jones, I do think makes a lot of sense. He's still in his prime. Obviously did not have the best year in 2024 with what happened with his family, but I still think Charvarius Ward's got a lot of good football left in him. 3 years, $17 million per year, $7 million Year one cap hit, you're at 24 million in cap space. Those are your big moves. Excuse me. Obviously, there's going to be some other ancillary moves, auxiliary moves, but each of those represents big time physicality, big time grit, right? Trey Smith is about as nasty as they come at guard. Justin Reed is super physical safety, also an athlete. And then you've also got, of course, the cornerback Charvarius Ward, who's a big physical long corner, likes to play the game in a physical style. So you're getting a team that's starting to play smarter football, but also more aggressive and just bring the nasty to the football field. And we're going to continue that in the draft here. And again, I'm not saying this is what I would do or what I think the Jaguars will do. This is just an example of how it could play out if the Jaguars really go all in on toughness, which I don't think is a bad strategy at all. At number 5 overall, running back Ashton Jeanty, right? You've addressed corner, you've addressed safety, you've addressed guard. Your major needs are off the board. I still think you could use a wide receiver, but again, in this situation, you now have one of the best run blocking guards in football. Ezra Cleveland, a very good run blocking guard. Walker Little, a very good run blocking tackle. Anton Harrison still developing as a run blocker, good pass protector. And then Mitch Morse is still in the middle there. That's not bad in terms of your run blocking group. And you have Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr., who can really stretch the field, open things up for Ashton Jeanty. This would not be a bad situation to drop Ashton Jeanty in. And of course, Ben Johnson dialing up the running game and getting that coached up. I could see it. I would not be against it necessarily because he is a blue chip prospect for me. I know running back is devalued and you are starting to see some folks talk about like running back being back because of players like Derrick Henry and, of course, Saquon Barkley going to new organizations and having massive success and really helping them win football games and now win football games in the playoffs. Jeanty is just such a complete back, such a physical back. The best tackle breaking back that I have seen coming out. I don't think he's quite the same athletically in terms of the fluidity as like a Bijan Robinson or a Saquon Barkley, but he's more physical than both of those guys, quite frankly. And he is very explosive. He is very quick and nimble. He's a good pass protector. He's a good pass catcher. You want to make sure that the fumbling doesn't become like a real thing. You saw 2 fumbles in that playoff game. One of them was pretty fluky, but Ashton Jeanty is just such an unbelievable prospect, and putting him behind the offensive line you've been able to create over the last couple of years with Ben Johnson calling the plays, helping Trevor Lawrence out in pass protection as a pass catcher, and of course getting the running game going. That'd be an interesting prospect, no doubt about it. At 36, Tyler Booker's off the board, which is where we would have gone at guard, but Jonas Avenea is still there, and I think you plug him in at right guard. He's been playing right tackle for Arizona. He does have a little experience on the inside, but Jonas Avenea playing right guard for you. He's big, he's physical, he's a mauler, he's got impressive hands and good athleticism at his size, over 330 pounds. So I think you're talking about continuing to fortify the interior of your football team. Yes, you signed Trey Smith. You're not going to have him around forever. Ezra Cleveland is on the not the final year. He signed a 3-year deal, right? But the Jaguars could move on from Ezra Cleveland after the 2025 campaign. And then Jonas Avenea, you can have him as a backup guard and tackle in 2025 and have a really good situation to where if you have injuries, which the Jaguars have had injuries at both spots, he can be a solid backup for you in year one and then be a starter that's primed to be a Pro Bowler at guard in the future. And, Ezra Cleveland's going to have to hold him off, bottom line. And you could be talking about having Jonas Avenea and Trey Smith as your guards for the next couple years after that. Absolute maulers. And then at 70, we also get our center of the future, Marcus Mbow, who might be able to beat out Mitch Morse in year one. Who knows? He's got crazy athleticism. He's really developed his hands. He's played tackle and guard a lot, but I think that just his body type, his frame, he's light, super athlete. I think that he probably does project best as a center. Was talking about Cardiac Cats about that this morning. So go check out his YouTube channel as well. He does a great job covering the Jaguars. But yeah, Marcus Mbo plugging in as your maybe 2025 starting center, but certainly 2026. And now you have really rebuilt that offensive line in a big way, both for 2025 and for the future. And you've gotten a lot tougher. Marcus Mbo, he brings a lot of grit to the field. Like, he loves the snatch trap. He loves hitting you with different hand, one hand punch, two hand punch, snatch trapping you, getting on the move, unbelievable athlete, great targeting down the field. That target lock on linebackers, secondary players. That would be just loads of fun. To have that much new talent and physicality on the offensive line would be pretty special. Got to remind you all to make your picks on Underdog. It's straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DuvalDaily, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Maybe you have a hunch about how some players are going to perform in the divisional round of the playoffs. Maybe you're looking at tonight, right? Monday Night Football, Rams and Vikings. Maybe somebody's going to pop off. Maybe you know who it's going to be. You make the call on the Underdog Pick'em. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code DuvalDaily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. It must be 18 plus, 19 plus Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and President State where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. 92, wide receiver Jaden Higgins, another big physical dude. But I think the Jaguars, I know that Gabe Davis is probably going to be there next year, but to not try to upgrade Gabe Davis, I think would be falling into the sunk cost fallacy, which is basically like, well, we have him, we need to use him. I don't think so. I just don't. I think if Gabe Davis is like your fourth wide receiver, so be it, right? Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington, Jaden Higgins, let's roll. Jaden Higgins is 6'4", 215 pounds. He is a great route runner, both from, being 6'4" and 215 pounds, you wouldn't expect him to be super fluid or be able to sink his hips and get in and out of breaks, but he does that at a high level on in-breaking and out-breaking routes. And then he also does use his body, his big frame, to create separation as well. And it's not really with extending his hands, which is where you're going to get called for PI, but it's with the elbows, the forearms, the shoulders, the leaning into the body and then exploding in the other direction. And he's got an unbelievable catch point skills. He's the type of receiver Trevor Lawrence hasn't had since college, really, being able to go up and get contested catches, having super reliable hands. I love Jaden Higgins' game. So, and that's a guy that's going to bring it physically as well. And then Zy Alexander, the question about him, the cornerback out of LSU, is really about his overall speed profile. But if you're talking about bringing him as a backup future starter, potentially outside, somebody who can play press at a high level, who I think has good zone eyes as well. He's long, he's physical. Again, the major question, which is why he falls to the fourth round here, is just that long speed. But he was really unbelievable for LSU this past year, and he dealt with a lot of NFL receivers and did it at a high level. At 128, interior defensive lineman Darius Alexander out of Toledo. Monstrous interior run defender, about 6'3", 310 pounds. He's a freight train. He's a lot of fun. He needs development, but you've got guys in front of him where he doesn't have to come in and be that dude right away. So Darius Alexander would be a lot of fun there. At 141, physical running back, another physical. And you're like, whoa, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, what's the deal here? Those guys need to earn it, in my opinion. I think they have talent. I think Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby are both very talented. Neither of them has proven to be good pass protectors. Neither of them has proven to be super reliable with the football in their hands in terms of ball security. I know it hasn't been as much of a problem with Travis Etienne, but Tank Bigsby, he fumbles the ball too much, right? Those guys are going to have to earn it. And Damian Martinez, he's going to force you to earn your spot on the roster. And look, Ashton Jeanty, you draft him at 5, he's your number one running back, bottom line. But Damian Martinez is pushing Travis and Tank to be better football players. And he is physical as all get out. He's only 20 years old. He has great vision and pace. He is really good at either running over the second level defender or making them miss. And I think that he's a really impressive pass catcher and pass protector. I love his game. 180 wide receiver Jack Beck out of TCU, big, physical. Does have a little bit of development to do in terms of he has a little bit of a hitch in his release off the line of scrimmage, but big, physical, good athlete at his size adds to kind of the profile we're talking about. 192 quarterback Riley Leonard, battering ram quarterback. Hopefully you can develop him as a passer a little bit. But at this point, you're just looking at him as a really athletic backup that can come in and do some different things for you. 221 DL Joshua Farmer out of Florida State. The Florida State defense had so many really good, talented football players that didn't perform at a high enough level this year. I think a lot of that just had to do with the situation. It was a pretty devastating year for Florida State football, right? But Joshua Farmer, he's big, physical athlete on the interior of the defensive line. I think that's just a great value at that point in the draft. And that'll do it for this one, right? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, we went all grit, all toughness, bringing in Ben Johnson, trying to instill that Detroit Lions type of vibe down here in Jacksonville. So again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.